As a Golden State Warrior fan, I really gotta thank the Minnesota Timberwolves. I really do, and I'll show you what I mean. In 2009, they drafted 2 point guards right before Steph Curry. In 2011, they used their number 2 pick on Derek Williams instead of Klay Thompson. In 2020, they allowed us to draft James Wiseman. Then also, earlier in 2020, they traded Andrew Wiggins plus picks for D'Angelo Russell. I would have been happy with a 1-to-1 trade between Wiggins and Russell, but that trade also included a 2021 top 3 protected pick, which turned out to be Jonathan Kuminga. The NBA should have never let this happen, because if Kuminga can maximize his potential, the Golden State Warriors would become so overwhelmingly powerful that they'd wreak havoc on the rest of the NBA for years and years to come. I got about 5 points here today to convince you on this, and I'm saving the best for last, so make sure you stick around to the very end to see what I mean. Trust me when I say it's going to be worth your time. Anyway, let's get started. Point number 1. Jonathan Kuminga is an 18-year-old kid who averaged 16 points per game against fully grown men. Let me say that again. Kuminga played in the G League as an 18-year-old kid straight out of high school and averaged 15.8 points and 7.2 rebounds against grown men. The average player in the G League is 25 years old, so not only are they more physically developed, but their skills are 7 years more polished than a young Kuminga. But even then, Kuminga still managed to physically overpower him.
The end of game situations, time and score, advancing the basketball, those type of things, going against NBA talent every night.
Kuminga has the ceiling to become the best in his draft class, and some would even argue that if he had gone to college instead of opting for the G League, he might have had the potential to be the number 1 pick instead of Cade Cunningham. The Warriors are a team with the best player in the NBA, a championship culture with championship aspirations, and they just got a player who could become an absolute beast. Steph Curry recently said of Jonathan Kuminga, "The draft picks, love them. There's lots of potential in terms of trying to implement them early and continue to develop them." Kuminga, on the other hand, recently said of Steph and the Warriors, "As long as I grow around Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green, I feel like my game can go from the bottom to the top in a couple of months." Anyway, on to point number 2. Imagine Paul George, but with Russell Westbrook-like athleticism. When people ask me what type of player Kuminga's like, or what he can develop into, that's the description I give. Paul George, but with Russell Westbrook-like athleticism.
With young guys, and you see his leadership and his coaching as you watch the game, and there they go right there.
The crazy thing about all this is, Kuminga is still just 18 years old and nowhere close to his physical prime. According to jumpinguniverse.com, between the ages of 21 to 29 is when you can leap your highest, so Kuminga is still about 3 years away at the very least. Currently, Kuminga's head can already practically reach the rim. Imagine in a few years, we might be seeing something like this again.
Oh my goodness, what is this?
Can you imagine someone with that type of athleticism that can jump that high and dunk in a Warriors uniform? All I can say is, thank you, Minnesota. Man, Minnesota, you let us have a 2-time MVP in Steph. You let us have the best catch-and-shoot player in the history of the NBA in Klay Thompson. And you gave us perhaps a potential future MVP candidate who's a mix of playoff P and a triple-double machine. Life is good, guys. Life is good. Anyway, guys, gotta move on to my next point. Point number 3. He's a man on a mission. Kuminga isn't just playing just for the paycheck. He's not just playing to be great. The man is playing for his country, and that is a recipe for greatness. Kobe Bryant, in an interview, once said about the NBA, "In the NBA, it was actually easier. What I found in the NBA is that a lot of guys played for financial stability. When they came into the NBA, they got that financial stability. Therefore, the passion and the work ethic and the obsessiveness was gone." I'm looking at that and I was like, oh my God, it's like taking candy from a baby. No wonder Mike wins all these championships. Well, it's different for Kuminga. You see, back when Kuminga was growing up, life wasn't as glamorous as it is now. He used to beg his parents for money. Why, you might ask? Well, it was in order to go to an internet cafe where he could get 30 minutes of access to a computer, where he'd be able to access YouTube, NBA highlights, and other NBA content. My only regret about all this was that I didn't start Hoop Reports earlier. And otherwise, Kuminga would have been a subscriber, for sure. So let's make sure to subscribe, guys. Anyway, there weren't many indoor courts in the Congo where Kuminga grew up. So most of the time, he played on dirt courts with shoes so worn that not even an appraiser would recognize what brand it was. As you can see, Kuminga came from very humble beginnings. He recently said on the Players Tribune, "Because of the sacrifices we had to make, I never treated this like it was just my opportunity." Kuminga wants to lift up his country. He was a huge fan of Kobe Bryant, and he had to fight tooth and nail to travel across the North Atlantic Ocean to get where he is now. You can be sure that he won't be one of those dudes Kobe Bryant was referring to when he said,
"Oh my God, it's gonna be like taking candy from a baby. No wonder Mike."
Anyway, I've lingered on point number 3 a bit too long. Let's move on to point number 4. And point number 4 is Giannis 2.0. Recently in an interview, Kuminga was asked which NBA player he most closely resembles. The young man had this to say: "It's kind of hard to match my game with any current NBA player because I believe that I have a unique way to play the game. But I can say I play more like Giannis, Paul George, and Kobe, may his soul rest in peace." The Warriors couldn't get Giannis in a trade, unfortunately, but they may have just nabbed Giannis 2.0. Let's compare their physical attributes real quick. Giannis stands 6'11", while Kuminga stands 6'8". Giannis has a 7'4" wingspan, while Kuminga has a 6'11" wingspan. Physically, Giannis is a bit bigger, but that doesn't change the fact that Kuminga can also force his way into the paint and finish strong, just like Giannis.
Back come the Warriors, down by 9. Kuminga, dribble drive, crossover, throws it down.
The thing about Kuminga, though, is that he can also create his own mid-range shot, like Kobe, and can also shoot the 3-ball like PG-13.
They didn't go all the way in for the trap, just a soft kind of double there, and he knew someone had...
Now, let's move on to the last point. Point number 5. Kuminga might just unbalance the league in 2 or 3 years. Let's take a look at all the points again. Point number 1. Jonathan Kuminga is an 18-year-old kid who averaged 16 points per game against grown men. Point number 2. Imagine Paul George, but with Russell Westbrook-like athleticism. Point number 3. He is a man on a mission. Point number 4. Giannis 2.0. Now, if you take all that and put that type of player onto a team with Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, and James Wiseman, what's going to happen? Just complete domination. Steph Curry will be about 35 years old, the same as Chris Paul, who just finished the 2021 season as the number 5 in the MVP race. Klay Thompson will be about 33 years old, the same as Curry is now, who just played like a unanimous MVP. Draymond Green will be 33 as well, which is 2 years younger than LeBron James when he won his last Finals MVP. And then we have James Wiseman. Wiseman will be in his 3rd or 4th year, and if he develops how Steve Kerr and Bob Myers think he can develop, he's going to be a beast all by himself. Then on top of all this, you have Jonathan Kuminga, who'll be about 21 or so, with about 2 years of NBA experience under his belt. You'll have a 6'8" small forward who can jump with his head above the rim and have all the athleticism that LeBron had when he was just 21. Tell me that that is not a recipe for domination, because if it ain't, I don't know what is. There are a few ifs and a lot of hard work along the way, but if Coach Kerr and the rest of the executive staff focuses on development and plays their cards right, there's going to be a huge dynasty with the Golden State Warriors that I cannot wait to watch. Anyway, guys, that's all for now. By the way, are you all caught up with the Golden State Warriors news? If not, do yourself a big favor and click on this video. A lot of stuff has been happening at a lightning quick pace recently, and you'll want to get all the updates. Kuminga didn't have access to Hoop Reports 10 years ago, but you do. Anyway, click on the video, guys, watch it, and I'll see you on the other side.